Yo, what up, friends? NBA MVPs, let's go ahead and get right into it. The race on Basketball Reference has turned around somehow in the last week. I don't know why, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, was the leader in the clubhouse last week. And now on Basketball Reference, they have Nikola Jokic. So, in my opinion, you're looking at the same kind of race we've had over the past couple of years with these dudes. Both playing prime time basketball. I mean, elevated skills. SGA, obviously, as much as Bobby G will lament his push off with the wrist, SGA is a great player. He's lethal in the mid post. Desmond needs to get him on the podcast there. And so when you see that and you put it up against a Jokic, who is an anomaly, right? He's a center that can do everything. We haven't seen something like this since maybe, a Kareem or a Wilt, where they could really, pass the ball as centers. So you also have the other end of that, though. And shout out to Man Down Sports Mel, who's been a participant with us here on NBA here before. He pointed out that he thinks that a lot of it is just stat padding, and that Jokic has been stat padding pretty much the whole second half of the season, even going so far as to make the team put him at point center so that he could bring the ball up to have more assists. I'm not in the Nuggets organization, but I can see how that possibly would be true. So we'll see. Bobby G, we'll start with you. Who is your NBA MVP?
Oh man, it's kind of like what is stat padding? The entire NBA is trying to stat pad.
I mean, that's what I guess.
You think the 12th dude on the bench is on purpose, averaging 2 points a game?
No, I'm good. I'm making enough on the
end. I got my bucket.
Keep making my bucket. We'll be good as long as I'm on the roster.
But to your first point, I'll tell you exactly why it changed. 136, 134, 40 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 blocks, and a plus 12 over another MVP candidate. That's why it changed.
Okay. So you think that performance that he had against them is what gave him the MVP over SGA?
Oh yeah, and it was on national television.
It was.
and another first, right? The first player in NBA history to lead the league in rebounds and assists.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And look, no disrespect to people who assume that what these guys do is stat padding, but what exactly do you expect what do you expect Jokic to do? Right? I mean,
maybe putting yourself in point guard is a little audacious, but
it's not that. But it's not they don't put him there. He can do it.
He can do it. Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, take a look at some of the teams that we're even talking about right now in the playoffs, and how many are positioned to have a point forward or center forward operate in the space of what Jokic has already started. Victor Wembanyama's doing it, right? The Orlando Magic was thinking about doing it, or that was what they were supposed to be doing when they had Boncaro, right? What a disappointment. You know what I'm saying? You've got LeBron James. Like, this is what we're talking about. This doesn't happen. I'm not saying that Jokic did it before LeBron, but what I'm saying is that there is that comfort level in the execution of whatever system you're doing to put the ball in the hands of a person who's sure-handed. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Murray is by trade supposed to be a point guard, but he's actually a shooting guard. And that means that Adelman is more confident in Jokic's ball handling skills than Jamal Murray. You saying
that's true?
Think about what that's saying.
That says a lot about Jamal Murray, but
but listen, the road for them to win the championship won't be because Jamal Murray knows how to handle the basketball or is going to guide everybody into their sets and get them their shots. That's all. That's Jokic's responsibility. That's always been the responsibility. What the Nuggets need, right, is for Jamal Murray to be 22, 23 Jamal Murray, who is freaking just blazing people. And to do that, you have to take that pressure, that burden off of his shoulders, which is why, to me, and I'm not saying that this is what's indicative of Jokic winning the MVP. What I'm saying is that doing it in clutch situations, doing it and still rebounding the basketball and still getting shots to, you know what I'm saying, through his teammates, that resonates, that speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying? So stat pad away, bro. If your team is gonna look like what they're looking like right now.
I'm not saying that I don't agree with that. I do agree with that. I didn't necessarily agree wholeheartedly with the stat padding reasoning, but I did understand where he was coming from, because a lot of things that Jokic does seems like he's intentionally, when players will, Jason Tatum does this a lot, and he'll try his hardest to get a defensive rebound over all of his teammates, no matter if he throws an elbow and hits him in the head. And it's like, bro, you don't really need to do all that. Just
Jokic, you know what I'm saying? The reason why we're talking about the Denver Nuggets being the most dangerous team in the West next to the Spurs, you know what I'm saying, challenging the Oklahoma City Thunder, is because we're seeing Jokic take things to another level in areas that ultimately were going to be question marks for the Denver Nuggets. Like, if this is the only thing that the Nuggets are going to be good at doing, which is relying on Jokic, it's saying, is it relying on Jokic to score the basketball, or is it relying on Jokic giving that team more opportunities for Murray to shoot, for Gordon to shoot, for Johnson to shoot, for those guys to get, more shots? And he's playing at a level like that. And he's also playing defense. You know what I'm saying? I think you alluded to like 3-4 blocks. He's playing defense, something that Jokic was never, great at doing, but that's something that got SGA over to getting his MVP. You know what I'm saying? So it all matters. It all matters. There's a reason why Jokic is kind of leapfrog SGA in this standings, because timing is everything. You're doing this, and you've positioned the Denver Nuggets to be the 3rd seed. There have been years where the Denver Nuggets wind up being a 4 or 5 seed because they backdoor their way into the playoffs, and you don't have as much confidence. The reason why people picked the Minnesota Timberwolves, you know what I'm saying? And this is going to be the first year that people will be like, man, Timberwolves, like Anthony Edwards is going to need a miracle. He may come out and show up and show out, but it still ain't going to be enough with the way that the Nuggets are playing right now, and that makes the Nuggets dangerous.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. Okay, so Jokic is your pick, I'm assuming, from everything that you said.
I think he's gonna take it. It's gonna be very close. I think SGA, his inside track, is his clutch 4th quarter gene ability. The fact that he is the guy. He does everything again with brutal efficiency. He has solid defensive numbers as well too. He basically is logged in about as many minutes as the other MVP candidates that are out there. But again, he does a lot of the damage, in the earliest part of the games. And then when the games are close, he is the go-to guy. And he's proven time and time again, he can be that guy. So, but I just think that, to Bobby's point, to me, it was a wash going in, because both of them had been injured to the point where they were both meeting that minimum threshold of games. So now you have to look at the back end, the stretch of games. And while OKC, they didn't necessarily take their foot off the gas, but it's just like they look at their strength of schedule and meaningful games that they did wind up having to play, and you look at what the Nuggets wound up having to do and their schedule and their strength of schedule. To me, that gave opportunity for Jokic to really sneak in there and put up some really phenomenal numbers to give him the edge.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about the numbers real quick. Jokic led his team to a 54-28 record, SGA 64-18. A lot of times that does, make a difference, is the ability to have more wins in a playoff race. So head-to-head, obviously SGA would have the lead there. And Desmond, we're going to come to you in just a second. Points per game, SGA 31.1 points per game. And I'm about to put this up here in a second. Here we go. Get that up there. So Jokic, 27.7 points per game, 12.9 rebounds, 10.7 assists. Forget the numbers on the end, but those are like blocks and steals and stuff that I clearly did not know how to format properly on these comments. For real, wouldn't you? I hit the space button. Anyways, SGA 64-18, 31.1 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 6.6 assists. So Jokic leads, as you mentioned, the whole league, in rebounds and assists per game, which we've never seen done by any player in history, much less a center. So granted, that is valid. Again, you got to talk about the efficiency, and SGA at 31 points a game, he's shooting over, what is he shooting? What's his shooting percentage? Effective field goal percentage of 60% for a guard is crazy. That's crazy work for a guard. Mm-hmm. Now for Jokic, 61%, 62%, you expect that because he plays a lot. Well, not as much as most centers, but he does play in the post a lot too. So those are your numbers. Desmond, who is your NBA pick, MVP pick?
So for me, the funniest thing about this MVP race is that, first off, the terminology, right? MVP race, I want to reiterate, is not just wordplay. A lot of times it's facts, and both of you guys alluded to that earlier. There are small pockets throughout the season where somebody's hurt and somebody takes first place. That person gets hurt and somebody else takes place. And we've seen that with all three, Jokic, Shai, and Wemby. There've all been pockets throughout the season where they either missed time or didn't play a lot for whatever reason. Yes. Now, even with that in mind, I've just always gravitated towards Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I think it's a lot of what you just said, Omar, the obvious dominance, the Jordan-esque, at least advanced stats that he's been putting up the last couple seasons now. I mean, his team fully takes on his identity, fully takes on his approach to the game. And that's why they're able to play like that even when he's not out there. And I think you can make that argument with the other guys, but I think at the core of my belief, though, is that I feel like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a little bit extra to prove, in a sense that you could say that last season he got a little bit of a sympathy award because they didn't give it when he actually should have got it the year prior. And then on top of that, he wins the NBA Finals, regardless of how you think it went. He wins the NBA Finals and holds Finals MVP trophy, and people still can't help but say, well, if Tyrese was out there, I feel like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did not get that automatic respect that we like to give players who check the boxes that we feel like they should check. He won the championship at the end of the day. He got the Finals MVP as the cherry on top. He's won a scoring champion. He's led his team to the best record in the league. He's checked a lot of boxes, and I feel like this year I would love to see him get that MVP again to kind of show people it wasn't a fluke. And even with guys like Jokic and Wemby and whoever, I'm still up there. And I still do what I do, even though he didn't. Again, I know he missed a lot of time this season. There was a little stretch there, but man, I don't know. I love me some Shai, man. I think it's what Cal said too. The clutch gene, the ability to put the team on his back. I mean, I love all of that.
Yeah, I'm right along with you. Everything you said is spot on of where I was going in my argument. Jokic, hell of a player, a once-in-a-lifetime player. I don't think we'll see something like this again, where you have a big man that can just so effortlessly score the ball. And I don't even know. I think sometimes he might have sold his soul to become an NBA basketball player, because some of these shots he be making, just throwing them shits up, and they be going in. I'm like, that don't even make sense. Why? How? If he has some secret, Robert Johnson type master guitarist, the devil in the country.
SP, you basically calling him Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Exactly. But he's also won it, and I know this comes back to the fatigue of voters. When people win multiple times, we want to see other people get it. The storylines come into play. I have him pretty even, neck and neck the whole season, as Desmond said. The thing that really puts me over the top, and I'll go back to this, wins matter. And SGA had 64 wins with a team that, slightly better roster, I agree. But I still think that extra 10 wins is what puts me over the top. I'm not going to change my answer based on, just last week's one game when I had SGA as my MVP before that. So.
SP, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you with your argument, right? I'm gonna help you with your argument. You can make the argument that if you give SGA the MVP award, he did not have his number 2 for most of the season. He's actually been playing with a very jaded roster because it was not their legit starting 5. And if you're Jokic, you actually had a very healthy Jamal Murray playing with you throughout this whole season.
Which again, another detriment to Jamal Murray. Like, come on, bro.
I wasn't saying that to be a detriment to him. It's ironic. But ironically enough, there are just some guys, man, that just naturally are great scorers in the game, and we try to catapult them or elevate them in a space where maybe their game doesn't translate to what we consider as MVP like or should be MVP like. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And in this particular instance, the reason why the Denver Nuggets have been relevant the last 5 years, and our focus has been on Jokic because Jokic is doing amazing things, but Jokic doesn't become this amazing if he doesn't have a guy who's putting that ball in the basket and showing you the symmetry, the beauty of the two-man game. You know what I'm saying? That better than what you see with Murray and Jokic. And for that to happen, Murray's got to be on the basketball court. And listen, when I say Murray is injured, I'm not saying, well, Murray just disappears and he's gone for 70 games. What I'm saying is Murray has never been 100%. He's never, I don't know if it's kind of like the Doncic effect, right? He's never done what he's needed to do in the offseason to get himself fully ready to play a full 82 game season and be 100% healthy, ready to go when playoff time happens. It's only happened maybe a couple of years, right? But he's always had nagging injuries, and this is probably the first year that we're going to see Jamal Murray at about as 100% as you could possibly ask of him to be for the Denver Nuggets to make this serious run. And it's going to be needed because the gauntlet that is the Western Conference is not going to allow them to be able to get past even the first round if both Jokic and Murray are not at optimal level, right? Like even this series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, I don't know why people are dismissing the Timberwolves and how the Timberwolves tend to play the Denver Nuggets. I think this goes 7 games. I think that if a motivated Anthony Edwards can consume a whole NBA playoff series, okay? And he himself alone can push this Denver Nuggets team. Even though when you look at the roster, the Denver Nuggets should get past the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nobody has any confidence in the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get out of this first round because they think that the last 2 years of them getting to the Western Conference Finals are a fluke. But I keep saying, this is why I had Anthony Edwards pegged as my preseason MVP candidate, and it just never played out that way. But man, listen, if the Timberwolves are in the playoffs, they're about as dangerous as other teams that we've been talking about already in this playoff chase. So,
facts, big facts. I agree with that completely. I have the Wolves actually playing 2 tremendous series against them in the past, having them on upset alert, possibly. So we'll see what happens there. 19 Media Group says Aaron Gordon missed most of the season. Peyton Watson, Nuggets had injury concerns too, but SGA got it. Okay, so 19 Media Group agreeing with Desmond and myself. That's 3 for SGA, 2 for Jokic. Either way, it's going to come down to the wire. I'm excited to see who they vote in. I do think, anyways, even if, again, we look at voter fatigue and things like that, I think SGA does get it a second time because Jokic already has, his. But we're not supposed to say that happens. It does all the time.
Subscribe on YouTube at Ball and Buds for sports and entertainment.